Death Cross and the Golden Cross involve two indicators, the MA50 and the MA200. Our 50 is our brown, our MA200 is our red. There's a few points you want to keep in mind when these two variables happen. And I'm going to just hide the clutter, I'm going to hide the price action. We're going to start with the daily chart. So there's a couple things here that are notable about this, and we'll just head back to, actually, you know what, I should do the Bitstamp chart because we get a little more price action here. And let's go back in time, right? Go back in time, and we don't even have to see the price action. You know, these moving averages pretty much tell us what overall is happening in the overall chart. We can see how our MA50 had an explosive move here through the fall of 2013. There's Bitcoin price action running from 300 up to 1,000. And the MA50 diverges significantly from our MA200. And we got really high. But the cross, the first cross, this was our first death cross, if you will, our golden cross, where the 50 crosses above the 200. All right, that was back here. That was back in 2012. First cross, ricochet, and this is the ricochet. This is where the 50 looks like we're about to death cross, and we don't. And that's kind of the fractal a lot of people keep looking at. But in this scenario, we actually held, well, we broke it for a hair, a couple days here, but we pretty much held support above the MA200 and the 50 after a quick dip below both of them, and then re-engaged to that significant higher high from $252 all the way up to $1,300. But that death cross that happened right here, April 11th of 2014, regardless of what happened in the price action after that, bounces, dead cat bounces, we were in a bear market, and we were in a bear market for the latter half of the year that took the price action from that death cross from around $500, down to under $200. And along the way, the MA200, which had been support a couple times when tested, became major resistance, as well as the 50. When the price action and these moving averages are close, it's more meaningful. They're close here, they're close here. This was our bear market signal, death cross with resistance. This was our bull market signal, a conflation of golden crosses with death crosses in a tight formation with the price action being near it, and then the acceleration of it higher into another bull trend. And that bull trend held super strong support all the way up until the next death cross. And that happened in March of 2018, in the March here. And around that, when it happened, the price action was around $9,000. Now we dropped, we came back, we put in a little bit of a higher high, but the bear market was set, and the MA200 resistance was set here, here, until the golden cross, where the MA50 goes up and through the MA200 in a pattern of strength, and near, relatively speaking, the price action. And that was our next bullish move here. Until the next death cross, October of 27, where the price action was close to it, had this pump into it, 8,000, 9,000, but the MA200 was resistance support, but still, they're all very close. The cluster was similar, very similar to what we saw back in 2013. Death cross, golden cross, death cross, golden cross, golden cross, brought Bitcoin price action from $8,000 all the way up here, right, to $60,000. So now we can see where we are. We haven't death crossed just yet. We're getting very close to it. The MA50 is continuing to fall ever so closer. And frankly, we can see the only thing that would save this from actually having a death cross and a ricochet where our 50 would cross higher and not cross the MA 200, would be price action accelerating very quickly in the next few days, into the 40s and then beyond, right? And wouldn't that just freak out the entire market? Um, so what does death cross tell us? Well, it's short term. It's an interim resistance. We've also seen the price action break above previously, but every time this has happened in previous bull cycles of Bitcoin price action, it does signal a bearish market cycle with the confirmation of the death cross actually happening. And that is literally days away. I mean, at this point here, it's kind of happened this week, if not into next week at the latest. So we have a historical pattern of what happens when this happens. Now, it doesn't mean that it's instant, that the bear market is instantly and we just reject and fall flat on our face here. Okay? This will take time. We get the death cross, we do a little bear cross, we do a little bull cross, right? The price action goes above, comes back below. We've seen that before too. But the resistances end up holding, and what we end up doing is doing these lower lows and lower highs. And that's just what a bear market is all about. So that's why this is important to know, because we are on the precipice of something that's happened at the end of all previous bull cycles and has determined the overall fate, which is lower highs and lower lows for months, if not into a year to come of Bitcoin price action. And that's what the death cross really signifies. In the context of where it is in the cycle. Now, could this time be different? It could. Could we get a death cross, get the golden cross again, save the chart, negate history? It's possible. Could we ricochet at this point? I don't really see it likely unless we really shoot up quickly. But is it almost one of those things where like everybody keeps watching it, that we're expecting something, and therefore, laws of intended or unintended consequences, everybody's expecting it and therefore it happens? Who knows? But this is significant, and we'll know sooner than later, because this has been setting up for quite a while. Now, the death cross, we just analyzed it on the daily chart. But we can look about this from a weekly time frame, right? And it's a whole different context. Go to my logarithmic scale. And you can see, wait a minute here, we've never had a death cross. We've never had a death cross, or frankly a golden cross for that matter, on our weekly chart, right? But what we do have is MA50 support, historic, right? When we're above the MA50, Bitcoin is good. When we're below the MA50, we will definitely hit the MA200, right? When we're below the MA50 on the weekly chart, we will definitely hit the MA200. When we're below the weekly 50 on the Bitcoin chart, we haven't broken the MA50 just yet. So we talk about it on the daily chart, right? But we look at the weekly chart and we say, wait a minute here, even if we death cross, okay, we're still looking great on higher time frames, but only on higher time frames. But we have to start somewhere. The death cross is imminent on the daily, okay? The 12-hour, it happened a month ago. That was a pretty clear sign, if you will. On the 6-hour, right, it happened back in April. So there were signs all the way back to April where the trend was beginning to change, and we were seeing it on ever increasing time frames, the 4-hour, the 6-hour, the 12-hour. Now the daily, which is a very important time frame, is setting up for just that. So even though we're above $40,000 in Bitcoin, which is an achievement, It's definitely an achievement to say the least. We still have a very long way to go, technically speaking. And the next key for me, specifically here, is our daily EMAs. Okay, we've been in a bear cross for quite a while. What's going to happen over the next couple days is that our EMA 12 will come back up and get closer to our 26. They'll kind of run parallel. They're kind of pinch and get tight. Best case for the bulls, they overlap slightly. But this is the indicator that will tell us if this is the bottom and we're about to reclaim in the next couple weeks or months 50K and then 60K, this is the pattern that will speak most clearly to me. And it will begin to happen on lower time frames, like it did on the 6 hour a few days ago, like it did on the 12 hour yesterday, and like it could do on the daily in 2 or 3 days from now. So the higher time frame confirmations we get, the more confident we can be in this bounce. But we know what we have above us, which is significant resistance. And on the daily chart, the MA 200 still remains the most significant resistance. And the 50, which we can see we've actually played with, support, resistance, is another thing. So we have this confluence of resistance from a Fibonacci standpoint, from a moving average standpoint, from a horizontal standpoint, all stuck in this $42,000 to $43,000 range, which for right now is just 6-7% higher from where we are currently. Bitcoin dominance is strong. Bitcoin is strong. No notable or meaningful money flow in altcoins yet. And until something changes, this is the current pattern we will continue to follow. And for now, at this point, it's probably inevitable that these areas are touched and tested. And we'll see how the market reacts, because that's the key. Everything under this key area, the bears have complete control until proven otherwise.